Okay, so we take refuge and developing bodhicitta, and after we start. Sangye cho tang tsoge cho namla chang chu paratu dani kyab sui chi dagi chin tsoge pe sunam ki rola penchir sangye dru parai shu sangye cho tang tsoge cho namla chang chu paratu dani kyab sui chi dagi chin tsoge pe sunam ki rola penchir sangye dru parai shu sangye cho tang tsoge cho namla Chanchum Paratu Dane Kyapsu Dage Jinso Gipe Sunam Rola Pinchur Sangha Drum Paraisho Simchen Tamche Dewa Tang Deve Jo Tang Dan Parajunji Dungal Tang Dungal Ke Jo Tang Dralwa Junji Dungal Mebe Dewa Tang Batang Mindral Warajur Ching Yerin Jadang Yedang Tralwa Tang Nyam Chen Pola Ne parai juru jingam palden save lama rimpachi dage che urupe me den chola ka den jinpe ko ne che sung ko sung tunge ngodrum tsal do sol. Yes, okay, so yeah, for the mic a little bit more. Yeah, it is better. So like this, normally you hear me more, a little bit more. Okay, so hello to everyone. So it's nice to see you again. And for this session, so Nikki, Klaus, Regina, Pavel, and Sibyl. Okay, very good. So I just will do this. Yeah. So last time we saw together that we saw many things. We saw the first part of this Lojong practice. So the first part of this Lojong practice, it's concerning the preliminary. And we can say even that there is the preliminary of the session. But when we say session, it means the moment where we practice Tonglèn, and also the general preliminary. And it's just the way we perceive things. And so it's really important because we have to set up our mind in order to reach enlightenment. So this is really important. And after that, we have all these instructions on the way of perceiving the reality, or the so-called reality, so the phenomena. So this is really important because, in fact, when we look carefully at the 59 points organized in the 7 of the 7 point of mind training, so the first one, it's just train in the preliminaries. So this is just the instruction. And after we have from 2nd to 6th, it's only instructions on the way we perceive phenomena. So maybe we can go through that quite quickly just to make it clear. And after we can go on the second point. So the second point is it's not exactly the second point, but anyway, it's the development of relative bodhicitta. But if we go, if we pass just through from the 2nd to the 6th, so it makes maybe a little bit more clear what we call, or yes, what we are naming when we say ultimate bodhicitta. Because in Lojong practice or mind training practice, these two bodhicitta is the main part, in fact. So we have it's like a balance between these two. But both of these bodhicitta has to be developed clearly, and so we can see that. So the second instruction is just chönam milam tabursam. So we spoke a lot about that. It's just an instruction that say, consider all the phenomena as a dream. So I hope it is clear that according to this point of view, it's not only that the phenomena themselves are just like a dream, but it's also that we are the dreamer, so we do both. So this is really important. I hope it's clear, because this is a really important point. But yeah, it's we say train yourself, so we have to think, but just saying that we have to think, it doesn't mean that we are very clear on that point. So it means mainly that we have to think again and again what it means to reflect and to keep in mind that every phenomena are like a dream. So just to make it clear, for you, when you hear that, how you transform this instruction in a sort of a kind of application into your life, how it is helpful or not helpful to hear that. So because I have my idea with this, and so I would like to see how you use that instruction when you hear, consider all the phenomena as a dream. So how you understand. So like that we can exchange, so it's more vivid. Otherwise, I think I'm explaining everything, but in fact, I'm not explaining everything. We're reflecting on the subject altogether, so it's better to see in that way. Yeah, Nikki.
In my case, for example, I try to put this effort in post meditation during in between sessions, and this first of all, I use this second point of the seven points training, mind training, seeing that the lack of the existence of the self, of myself, in the way that there is not a self in itself, and from this point, perceiving also that all beings are at the same point I am, in this confusion and the suffering, and is more or less between these two points where I am dealing with.
Yeah.
During the post meditation.
Yeah, during the post meditation. But it's interesting to say during the post meditation, because if we, maybe you heard about that, and you will see it's always a very good instruction. So there is the so-called Tampa Sum. Tampa Sum means the three excellent point, or the three holy ones, we can say also, because Tampa means holy, to be pure or holy. It's more like to be holy. The first is to start the practice with the bodhicitta. Yeah, sure. And the second point is, it is said that during the practice we don't have to conceptualize. So mimikpa means we do things, but we know that just to make it simple, it's a sort of a game. So it's not so serious. So we are not grasping to what we are doing. So we understand, especially this instruction. And after, during the post meditation, so at the end of the practice, so we dedicate the merit, reflecting on the fact that we are above the 3 point. It means that we understand that we are not someone who dedicate really something to really someone. So to make it simple. So this is the general context. So because of that, we can also say that what you are saying, we have to use it also during the practice. So it means that when we visualize ourselves as Genève, for instance, so we keep in mind that we are using a method in order to understand that even the creation we are making is devoid of a true self. So this we can know, this we can understand. But after, when you say during the let's say in Tibetan we call it lamkir, it means to take the practice with us during the path. So this is lamkir. So it means the post meditation. But post meditation, because during a Vajrayana practice we have creation phase, we have resorption phase or perfection phase. So after these two is finished, so ideally we are in the contemplation of our true nature, hopefully. And after, when we came out of this absorption, so we're back in our life. So this is called lamkir. And to be back in our life, it means that we carry with us the understanding of the completion phase. So it means that we understand that everything appears, but devoid of a true self again. This is a little bit technical, but after what you said, in considering all the phenomena as a dream, yes, it is really interesting to use in a post-meditation phase, but also in, I would say, in any kind of moment. It's difficult to train ourselves thinking like this, but it's maybe just a way to put it in the simplest way. Just if we consider impermanence, for instance, but other ones can have another idea also. But if we just consider impermanence, it's a good way for training in that instruction. Personally, I consider it as an easy way to do, because, for instance, if I remember that whatever I do, it's not permanent, in fact, it's a way of remembering that everything is like a dream. And so on that basis, I can include everything, totally everything, because the moment we are passing together, this is also impermanent, obviously, because it will finish. So because phenomena are finishing, it doesn't mean they don't exist, but they exist only in the instant. They don't exist as something we can keep, as something we can treasure, as something very precious. We can perceive as a moment, for instance. We can think, oh, this moment is really precious, but we cannot go back to that. So this impossibility of going back to that moment, it's a real proof of that impermanence. And so it's very good, because we don't have to do something very complicated. This is exactly what we say when we say it's like dream. Because even to say it's like a dream, maybe it's too complicated in our mind, too conceptual. But when we think that everything is passing, so we know that, but we don't remember that. But if we remember this, so we know that whatever we experiment, good or bad, will pass as a dream. Because during my dream, if it's marvelous, it will not last. If it's awful, it will not last. When I wake up, I will just realize that it's finished, it's over, and I cannot go back to that dream. Sometimes we make this experience. We have a very nice dream, and we wake up, unfortunately, because maybe we have to go to toilet, and we go back to our bed, and we think, it would be so good to go back to that dream. But it never happened, usually. or maybe to some individuals, but it's really rare, and it's not exactly as we want. So it means that it's gone. We cannot do nothing with that. It's gone. So because it's gone, it's like a dream. So this is a really easy way to remember that. And I think reflecting on death and impermanence, anyway, we need to use that as a preliminary practices. But we can use it in this instruction, considering all the phenomena as a dream. And after, when you say that the other, they perceive themselves as a self, and I perceive myself as a self. So this is the same illusion, as you said. And this also will not last, Even if I'm absolutely convinced that I exist, but it will not last. One day I will disappear for true, and I will be maybe a memory for someone, but no more than that. And after these people, they all died. They will die with that memory, and no one will never remember that I once exist. It will be totally a dream, totally a dream. It's already a dream, in fact. And when I think in that way, it's a very powerful way of keeping in mind that everything it's like a dream, because everything I have, everything I think, even my thoughts, it's so important. We have our ideas, but this also will not last. We cannot keep it. Even if we write book, these books will disappear also. So everything is like a dream. So on that point.
And Jean-Marc, you say because it's gone, it's like a dream. You say that. But could I also say because it's gone, it's all empty?
Yeah, sure. Because in a very simple way, it is said that I heard Lama Tongzong saying that a lot of time, saying that just imagine that things exist for real. So it means that, for instance, your emotion right now will last if it exists. If something really exists, it will last. Because it's not lasting, it's devoid of a self. Absolutely. Otherwise, things will remain, if it exists. But because it's transient, transitory, so impermanent, so it cannot last, even if we want. It's impossible, because the nature, this is really an important point, because the nature of phenomena is impermanent. It's not because we think of impermanence, so because we are Buddhist, so we consider impermanence. No, it's just the nature of things, the nature of phenomena, It's their true nature, not lasting nature. So not lasting nature means empty nature. Because empty of something that can last. So this is empty. Empty doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So this is really an important point. We don't have to mess up with that, because otherwise it's very difficult to use that instruction, because we think, but we know it's not a dream, and I'm not dreaming right now. So what it is, it's just if you had one ID to the fact you are living a situation, you say, I have to remember it's a dream. No, but you are not living that as a dream. Usually you live it as very serious. If you have an argument with someone, so you are totally caught by that, and so you want to even to fight, or to say, yes, I'm the one who is right and you're wrong, and so you are in the middle of this. So it's really difficult to think, it's like a dream. No, because for you it's so serious. But next day you wake up and, yeah, sure, it disappeared. because you think about, but the situation, the real situation, is no more. You cannot go back to that. It's like, it's really simple. You do that with your hand. You do that with your hand, and you try to redo. So you redo. You think you redo, but you never redo, because if I do that, I cannot do both. I cannot do again. So I can do another movement. It seems to be exactly the same one, but it's not the same one. This is sure, because this instant, this movement, finish. So I can do another one, really similar, but similarity for me, because I'm a really ordinary being. So similarity for me means it's the same. So it exists, because it's like, yeah, it's a beautiful illusion, because I think, for instance, tomorrow morning I will see my face in the mirror in the bathroom, and I will think, I'm back. Yes, I'm back. But since more than 60 years, I'm back. But really, frankly, I'm not the same. Because I change a lot. This is sure. And it's gone. It's gone. So just to think it's gone. So it's a very practical application of phenomena as a dream, because it's done. It's gone. You cannot go back to that. So it's finished. So devoid of something that lasts. It's not existing, because you are trapped in the argument. So it's existing, but it's not lasting. So this is the difference. So the difference is really important, because when we say devoid of a true self, so in the words of the Buddha, saying true self, it means a self that exists forever. So he never said that there is no self, because when he spoke as the Buddha. He said, I want, I see, I hear, I say. He said that. A true self means something that lasts. So this kind of self will never find. So that's why phenomena are like a dream. Is it clear for you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is.
I think it's the first time I understand that.
Okay. Very good. No. It's maybe me too. It's possible, because when we are together, it's really helpful, so we can understand things.
When we were talking about this voice, you gave this very vivid example of the tiger when we're dreaming and we are creating a self that is eaten by the tiger in the dream. Eh?
Yes, it's incredible.
And to be aware that the tiger, the dream itself, is just appearing out of our own consciousness.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, totally. And so this we find in the second instruction when we say, so makie rikpe shilache means examine the nature of the consciousness unborn. Unborn because the consciousness itself is unborn. It's not only that the object of consciousness are devoid of a true self, but your consciousness also, And as you say, Regina, yeah, when I think that I am a tiger, or when I'm the dreamer, I am the dreamer dreaming of the tiger who eat me, and me myself eaten by the tiger is as illusory as the tiger. Both of them are totally an illusion, but both of them need them. I mean, the tiger without me eaten by him by the tiger, I cannot exist. So we find this in Vasubandhu, for instance. It's really interesting. And in generally speaking, in the Yogacara philosophy, saying that consciousness creates their objects. In fact, we are creating the object, and after we grasp to these really objects, but we are not grasping to something that we never created. For instance, we have good example for that. If I really think about that, how can I, for instance, consider something good or bad if I don't think in that way? It seems maybe too simple, but I have to create the idea of this is good or this is bad to perceive it in that way. If I don't perceive it in that way, I have no idea. I cannot even grasp to that idea. So, for instance, imagine you see a fruit or you see something. You don't know if it's a fruit, if you can eat it, if it's a stone, if it's okay. So you cannot say, "Oh, delicious," or you cannot say, "Oh, so disgusting." You cannot say that because you don't have the idea, you don't have the representation. So if you don't have the representation, so you cannot have the thought. So you need to create the representation in order to have the thought. You cannot perceive something if you didn't participate in the elaboration of this perception. It's impossible. So that's why it is said in the teachings that, in fact, the consciousness grasps his or her own objects. Always, you cannot grasp something that it's not your object. So you cannot, for instance, if you dream of a tiger, I cannot be eaten by your tiger. It's impossible. Your tiger cannot jump in my dream and eat myself. This is impossible, It will be a nightmare, But it never exists. So I can be afraid, for instance, if I have a nightmare, I can be afraid only by what I created. Otherwise, it's impossible. So it means that all the sensation I will have during my dream, these sensations are only possible because I create these objects. Otherwise, I cannot have this sensation, And definitely, I will never be afraid by your tiger. Because I cannot perceive your tiger. It's impossible, But even, when you say, "Oh, this is beautiful," I cannot perceive what you perceive. It's impossible. Impossible. We can share the illusion of seeing the same thing. Yeah, this we can share. We can have the same illusion, but I cannot perceive what you are perceiving. This is impossible. Absolutely, definitely impossible. We think, when we say, yes, I understand what you are saying. Yeah, okay, because we have some, we have some clue. So we say, yeah, it's similar. Yeah, it's similar, but we cannot understand. Someone frightened, we cannot understand the perception of this fear. It's impossible. No. So when we say third, yeah, please.
Can I ask something?
Yeah, no, sure, definitely. Whenever you want.
We said that all phenomena are dreams, are a dream. And when, for example, angry, every day, and you can't manage this anger, and it gets manifest someday in the body, for example, what is the antidote to this? Because the more it gets manifest, the more I believe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. And I think I think when we say, because, this was my question, how we do with that. So how we use it.
Because, yeah.
So I think that for you, for myself, just to remember that it will pass, it will not last, it's gone. So it's good teaching, absolutely. So it can help you, and it can also help me, because I remember this. This anger is so important. This will last. For instance, when I will die, how can this anger sustain? There is no basis for anger. No one will be angry. Because you don't have time to be angry at that moment. It is finished.
But some people are really dying of broken heart, and the basis of that was a thought. No.
Yeah, but the basis of all our experiences are always a thought. But when you say that, or what I understand is sometimes it's really difficult to go out of this anger, because we are trapped in something. It's again and again coming in our mind. But again and again coming in our mind, it's, I don't know. It means that I don't know, but I don't know how it is possible to believe that something will last. It's really something, as soon as you start really to consider the impermanence of phenomena, it starts to be very difficult to believe in the lasting possibility of a phenomena. Really. But it doesn't mean that it's easy. That's why we are saying mind training, because mind training, the basic of mind training is to think about impermanence every day, but really every day, but every day in an easy way. For instance, this 2 day is almost finished. It's 7 and 12 minutes. So whatever we want to do, so this day will finish. And it's absolutely impossible to go back to that day. So it's finished. So what we didn't do, so it's finished again. So just to remember that, it's really helpful, because slowly, so we remember that everything, even the more sad situation, the worst and the more painful experience, it cannot last. But this is the problem of grasping. When we say grasping, it means that we want to take it, but it's because we take it with us. This is our power, the power of imagination. So I can imagine to go back, for instance, if we have a beautiful moment together, and so I can think again and again. But this is a sort of grasping, thinking, it was beautiful. Yeah, sure, no, it was beautiful. Okay, yeah, maybe. But anyway, if every day I train myself in that, so maybe, I will be stuck in that. But this is maybe this is my freedom, My freedom, it's the way I think. Maybe I can also think, yeah, it was beautiful, but it's gone. So I train myself. Otherwise, I train in another way, thinking, oh wow, it was so beautiful, and so it's like reinforcing, the fact that it was beautiful. So wow, because no one than myself can grasp to what I grasp. So this is really incredible, I'm the one who is grasping, there is no one else, So if my grasping is very strong, yeah, okay, but I'm part of that, I cannot say, oh, the situation grasped me. No, I'm the grasper. There is no one. a part of myself. I cannot blame someone. It's very clear in the mind training instruction on the commentary of jungle control. He said, no, you cannot. There is one instruction: you cannot blame, or if you want to blame someone, so you have to blame the right one. It's not exactly said in that way, but the meaning of this, it's exactly this. So it means that no, the grasper is myself. So, for instance, you are on a chair and you are very sad. Okay, you are very sad. Okay. And so you are sad. But no one else is sad in name of you. You are the one. So maybe you can be the one who is very happy also. It doesn't mean that it's easy to be happy when you are sad. No, sure. But for us, ordinary being, it's a good training to remember that I'm the one who is making me sad. Mm-hmm. Because even if there is someone very mean with me, yeah, this is also possible, But at least, anyway, at the end, if I'm not there to grasp that situation, no one else of myself, no one else will grasp that situation, So that, this in mind training instruction, we speak about how we say in English, I don't remember. You use an arrow and you have the bend. I don't remember la cible. When you use an arrow, you use it and clack, it goes in the target. So we say that we are holding the target, and because I hold the target can be touched by the arrow. If I'm not holding the target, so I cannot be touched. So at one point, I have to participate in the situation I experiment. Otherwise, it's impossible. But this is also mind training in a way, a very simple mind training. But just to remember that. But sometimes I don't want to remember this. Because, it's not really practical when I'm sad to imagine that I participate in that. I prefer to think that it's the fault of the other one. It's more practical in my mind because I have a very ordinary mind. So I prefer to think, because he said that to me, Yeah, maybe he said that to me, but if I'm not there to grasp that, so who will grasp instead of myself? So that's why these instructions are really important, because for us in the mind training process, I have to be aware of that, because after, when we train and when we see all the instruction of relative bodhicitta, it's based on that. We'll see constantly. We participate in what we feel, in what we experiment. But be careful, because we're also coming from a culture of the guilt. We feel guilty, So this is the problem, because we think that, so I'm guilty, because I'm the bad one who participate in what makes me suffer, But it's not the point. No. Only love and compassion, compassion for this one who is grasping, not guilt. Poor guy, poor Jean-Marc, poor Jean-Marc, who is grasping all the time, who is making him suffering, I need to have love and compassion for myself because I'm the one who is grasping, you know. So this is really important in Lojong, in Tonglèn. That's why we'll see after that. When we go through all these instructions from the second one to the sixth, where we reflect on the, you know, the mind, illusion, and everything. And after we start with Tonglèn, you know. But when we start with Tonglèn, what we see? So Tonglèn, the real Tonglèn, start with yourself. You cannot start Tonglèn with another one. Traditionally, they say you have to take all the future suffering you will experiment. Yes, this is a possibility also to understand in that way, but it's quite tricky and not easy. But the easiest way, really the easiest way, is just to remember that, yeah, when I grasp and when I'm sad, so I'm the one who grasp, and I'm the one who go back to things. Yeah, you know, grasping, I don't have another word because it's really clear. It's like really, but you know, it's like to have a dream. Imagine, yeah, you have this experience. We all have this experience. We have a beautiful dream. And wow, too bad, you know, it's finished. You know, we don't like when the movie is finished, you know. It's awful, you know. That's why on Netflix, when you reach the end of a series, straight it start again. It's a never-ending process, you know. It's a pure samsara process, you know, because you cannot live with the end of the story. So it's too awful. So the people like you and me behind, having the same emotions, so said, yeah, poor guy, you know, when it's finished, don't know, it start again, you know, because it's too difficult, you know. But in fact, yeah, you know, the dream is finished, so I cannot do nothing. Yeah. So when we say the third instruction, examine the nature of the unborn consciousness, it's just to remember this. Yeah, it's a little bit technical, you know. No, unborn consciousness. Unborn consciousness, it means that, in fact, if I look at carefully, it doesn't come from somewhere, it doesn't stay somewhere, it never finishes somewhere. Kiega nesum. So in Tibetans we say Kiega nesum. So it means that, you know, no, you cannot say it comes from there. So when we say unborn, it's just to remember that this dream, you know, came out, but you cannot you cannot point the place, exactly the place where where it starts, or the moment it starts, you know. It's like, you know, thinking, oh, I will find the beginning of my thoughts. When it starts, you know, it's impossible, you know. Even if you say, when I born, yeah, but how it is possible, you know? How it is possible to have one thought if you don't have one before? You cannot. So that's why we say from beginningless time. That's why. Because you cannot find a beginning. So in fact, when you reflect on the unborn consciousness, it's to see that, you cannot say when you start to dream of a tiger who will eat yourself. But this is more technical. Okay. The fourth one, Nyinpo Nichang Rangsardrul. So it means the antidote also, you let the antidote disappear. It's like, to make it simple, it's like when we say everything is like a dream. So this thought itself, so you let it disappear also, you know, because you don't have to make the party of those days saying that everything is a dream. So you don't have this is an antidote when we say everything is gone, everything passed, you know, and nothing lasts. When we say that, it's a way of thinking, and a way of thinking is an antidote. Considering the mind training, because our reality, the reality for everyone, depends on what I think. So the way I understand the world will create the way I perceive the world. So that's why thinking, it's an antidote. But thinking, it's also a poison. But you know, the difference is very easy. You know, if I think that everything exists for real and they will last, it's a poison. If I think everything doesn't last, so it's a freedom. But both are a thought. So I don't have to imagine that thinking that everything is devoid of a self, it's more true than the other thought. Because this thought itself vanish. It's just to be clear on that. That's why they put that instruction, you know, because otherwise, you know, we can also we can be stuck in the emptiness, thinking that nothing exists. So you start to, I don't know, you start to, you want to prove that nothing exists. But if really nothing exists, you don't have to prove something, you know. Nothing. You don't have to. No, it's not necessary. Because anyway, you know, next day, you know, it will be finished. But on a very practical level, we can train ourselves in that way also. Because sometimes, you know, in a discussion, the other one, we disagree, for instance. Okay, we disagree, but there is different way of being in that kind of situation, because we can also say, yeah, why not? Yeah, even if it's not the way I think, yeah, but why not to perceive in that way? You know, I don't have, you know, I have to examine myself. I don't have to. It means that it's not absolutely compulsory or necessary that I have to defend everything I think, because it's only a thought. So I can let these thoughts disappear itself, and it's fine. It's fine. I don't really need that other one will believe in what I'm saying, you know. It's not absolutely necessary for myself. But this is a part of the training, mind training, you know. It's okay. It's okay. People can disagree with me. It's understandable. I can make space for that. And this is a good way of training myself. But it goes to that. So it means that a thought, you know, you cannot imagine a mind training without thinking, because all the mind training of Lojong is based on Lojong, so means mind training. So Lo, it's the aspect of the mind that think. So clearly, Lojong means to train in thinking, pure thinking. So it's a pure thinking. But a thinking, it's just a thinking. So you don't have to make it more real than that. So it's also a way of understanding the Nyenpo Nityang Rangsardul, means you let the antidote also disappear by itself. You don't have to grasp to emptiness. It's not necessary. No. But I'm presenting this in a very, very simple way. Otherwise, you can go back to the experience, meditative experience or Mahamudra experiences also, sure, in a more profound way. But in a very practical way, it's good. And after the fifth one, it's to stay in the dimension of the basis. So the essential nature. It means that as soon as, for instance, to make it simple, even in the meditation, you have a thought, really, let's say an emotion, you have an emotion. Okay, you have an emotion. So we meditate and we have an emotion. Okay. And after you remember that it's not lasting. So this is the antidote. You just, when I say you, it means we, all of us. It's not for someone. It's really because, we. we can use that antidote, thinking that, okay, it will not last. I'm meditating. I'm really aware. Okay, a very strong emotion, fear, desire, anger, whatever, arise. So I understand, okay, and I feel it, I perceive it, and I remember that when I look at this, it will disappear. So this is, okay, the use of antidote. So the fifth instruction, it's after using the antidote, so you go back to the nature of the mind, in fact. So you go back, let's say, in the state where there is no thought coming up. So you let yourself in that state, naturally, you don't do something. You don't have to do something. It's also a way of saying that at that moment, when we just saw the thought disappeared, vanished. So we remain in that state, in the vanishing state of the thought. We don't do something. It's like if something burn out totally. So after there is no more something, So you remain in that. Only. Is that clear? Yeah? Yeah, and the sixth one, it's, between the session, act as the master of illusion. So it's just a way of saying that during the session, so for instance, you go out of your meditative session, Mahamudra, Shine, whatever, Tonglèn, whatever, and after in the usual ordinary life, so you remember all what you understood, just a master of illusion. Master of illusion. Why master of illusion? Because in fact, you are the grasper. So you are the master of illusion, There is no one else who can master your illusions. You master yourself, your illusions. No one else can help you in that field. But this is the good news, in the perspective of mind training, saying that we are trapped in creating the illusion, it's very good. It's not the bad news. It's really the good news, because we understand that. It's not that we want to escape from somewhere in mind training. It's not necessary. We don't have to. We don't have to. No. Because we are creating something, so it's very easy. We can say, okay, so if you are the master of illusion, so you decide when it starts, you decide when it's finished, when it's end. So you put an end. And so it's really interesting because, we discover now, with the neuroscience, we discovered that the emotion doesn't last. So only your intervention, so let's say in Buddhist words, we'll say, because of the grasping, you renew the emotion, but the emotion itself doesn't last. It's impossible, But because we grasp, so it's like fueling the emotion, with the new energy. Grasping, it's giving energy. Totally. And so after that, so when it's clear, when everything we talk about is clear, and so there is a lot. If you look in the commentary, there is a lot. So after that, so we have the practice of bodhicitta, relative bodhicitta, and it's Tonglèn. And Tonglèn, it's really easy. Tonglèn means, when you inspire. So, okay, you just do that. And when you expire, so you think that you are giving all your happiness, virtue, qualities, and everything. And when you inspire, so you think that you free others from their suffering and everything. But this is really easy. But there is a big but, because in fact, we have to remember two things for doing this. I done this and I disappear on the screen. So funny, yeah. Two things I cannot do again, it's impossible. You cannot do again. So funny. Anyway, so two things. So the first one, what is the first one? It's joy. We have this in the commentary. In the commentary of Jungle Control, it is said, I will read you the commentary just for that part. Tonglèn Nimbo Pelpajang Teni Long La Kyunte Cha Shesung Te Ningje Yul Jurupa Ma Tenam La Dungen Ngusu Ne Kunjung Yun Ne Pe Mai Gula Yube Dungan Natso Ba Tang Kunjule Tang Nyum Tang Nyumon Ba Tamche Dagi Langwara ji o nyempe de nam tamche rang la chungwar gom ching chung na gawe dun pa tak tu cha. So it means all parents, object of my compassion, they know what is suffering, not only directly but also indirectly, and because at the origin of this suffering, because of the origin of suffering. So it means that they are all trapped in that experiment of suffering. So that's why I will take on myself all these suffering of experiment by my old mothers, and all the karma and all the emotions at the origin of this suffering. So this is the commentary. And after that, he said, meditate on the fact that all this suffering come into yourself and develop an intense joy. So there we have to think about. Because, if we don't understand in a proper way, so it's done with us. It's impossible to do that. Because first, we have to remember that everything is a dream. This is really important. So I'm not taking the suffering of others, thinking that it's like solid stuff of any kind. Absolutely not. Why they are suffering? Because they are grasping their suffering. I mean, we understood. It means that when we start with that, we have to understand the process of suffering. Otherwise, it's impossible. We have to understand this because otherwise we imagine that we are the savior of this world. So we'll save others from their suffering, So we don't understand that suffering can exist only if someone participates in that. So you cannot say, even if you say to someone, you have to stop to suffer. Yeah, you can say, but it means that that person, that really person, has to decide to stop thinking in that way. If you have someone that think that the next neighbor, really wants to kill her or he, anyway, he's trapped in a I don't know, in a sort of nightmare, thinking that really, it's like paranoiac confusion. If you are in that, you yourself, you trap yourself in that. There is no one. Sometimes if there is someone, it's easy, but in that case, it's not easy, because you are creating yourself, your own stuff. So it means that we have to understand this, because you cannot say, oh, I will take your suffering. No, it's not that. You understand that you take the confusion. It's not the suffering itself. You take the confusion, but taking the confusion means I want to be free from that confusion, because when I'm alone and very sad, and when I see that I grasp to everything I have in my mind, making me really horrible, totally suffering, so I understand, I have compassion for myself. So I know that this is the root of my suffering, because I participate in that. So saying I take the suffering of others, we have to understand clearly, we take the confusion. And why are we saying that joy, intense joy? Because it would be so marvelous to be free from all these thoughts I have in my mind that makes me so miserable. So it would be extraordinary. So it means that if I imagine the other one being totally free from that, wow, so nice, I have a great joy, I feel a great joy, but very naturally, it's not complicated, because it's so cool, so good, it's the end of suffering, so it's marvelous, so you are happy with that. It's not, so this is really important, it's not that, oh, I took all the suffering of the world, so now, it's so heavy in myself. No, absolutely not. You don't have this kind of thought. Because you have only joy. Why? Why do you have joy? Because you are like others. And it's so cool when it's finished. So you remember that. So that's why doing Tonglèn means we have to be very clear on the way we're creating suffering, So that's why first we have to understand that suffering is an illusion, a creation. It doesn't mean we don't suffer, as we saw before. We suffer, but it's void, it's empty of something real. So it's not lasting. So this we understand. And so this is really important. And the second point is joy. Because when we understand this, wow, such a joy. You know, it's like someone discovering that the nightmare is finished. You know, you wake up someone who is having a nightmare, you know. Oh, such a relief, you know, it was a nightmare. Wow. And we all have this experience, you know, when you have a bad dream, you know, thinking that you murder someone, you know, it's absolutely awful, you know. I remember one nightmare like this, you know, it's terrible, you know, because you really think that you done something horrible. And when you wake up, hopefully it was a dream. So what? It's extraordinary, you know, the joy. But it can be less terrible than this. But when we have a nightmare, it's really a relief to think that, oh, it was only a dream. What a relief. You know, it's really good. Really, really. You feel fresh and you can start again having a normal life, you know. But during your dream, your nightmare, you know, life was really miserable. So it's a joy. The joy comes from that. Comes from the fact that you realize that it was a dream. So this is really important. Otherwise, we cannot do Tonglèn. Huh? If we are not clear on that, very difficult. Because we'll imagine that we are taking really, for real, we are taking something, suffering, really existing suffering. No. It's impossible. And if we imagine this, so it means that our wish to make others free from suffering, it's not very clear. We don't understand that suffering comes from from confusion. So it's like a misunderstanding of what is suffering, you know. But we have to go back to the Buddha's teaching. Huh? Buddha's teaching is very clear. The main point is to believe that phenomena are lasting and are permanent for the Buddha. 3 misunderstanding, and the main one is this: thinking that phenomena are permanent. So on that point, is that clear for everyone? Okay. So this is the start of Tonglèn. Okay, and so maybe so next session we can really start to practice Tonglèn, I think. But we really have to remember these 2 points. Again. Yes, it goes. Yeah, but no more. You know, I have no power on the effect of Zoom. It's impossible, you know. Anyway, this is a good example. You know, I cannot recreate. It's you know, it's done. You know, if I want, you know, my mind, you know, is so confused. You know, I want to recreate, so I try to do again, and I cannot. It's exactly, this is a good example, you know. You cannot. No, it's finished, it's done. It was fun, that's all. But my suffering can start if I imagine, but it would be so extraordinary that it start again. This is the start of my suffering. Even if it's very nice, very good, very pleasant. Not in that case, because it's nothing. But just imagine, you know, even for something very good, you start to think, it would be so fantastic if it start again. Yeah, But even for something very good, you start to suffer. Just because of your wish. So we can have a different kind of wish. We can wish, may I realize that everything is impermanent like this. So this is my decision. But if not only if, but when I decide to think in that way, I'm starting to free myself. And I'm starting to free others also. Because I will I will try to never participate in this illusion, for other one. Saying that, no, don't worry, it will start again. No. I can be more clear. Saying, yeah, I understand you. It's so painful. It was so good. But this is the nature of life. So it means that I don't participate in that creation of suffering, I'm more aware of that. So it means that I can start Tonglèn. Because if I say, may all the beings be free from suffering, so, okay, it means something. When I inspire, wow. So I can really imagine, this is just my imagination, sure, but I can think, wow, they are free. And because now I imagine they are free, wow, it's a relief. It's a real joy. I can experiment joy. But for that, I need a good ingredient. I need some love for others. Otherwise, I cannot feel joy. It's really difficult, If I see Klaus and I imagine Klaus, I love Klaus, I love you all, if I imagine this, so it's a joy to think that you are happy, and it's really sad if I think that you are not happy. But for that, I need to love you. But really, it seems really strange to say in that way. But it's not in another way, I cannot have a real joy for someone I don't care. And if others are exactly like myself, I can care for everyone. But this slowly, it doesn't mean it's easy, but it's functioning on that basis, So that's why on Lojong practice, but mainly on Tonglèn, I need love for others. I need to understand that because I love others, I don't want that they are trapped in their nightmare, I don't want that. But really I don't want, because it's too much for me, so it's too much for them. I know that because it's too much for me. So I know that they are exactly like myself. So they are doing the same thing, You are doing the same thing, It's not because you are living in where you live that you're functioning in another way, You are a sentient being, so you are exactly the same as myself. So love, understanding that they are trapped in the same kind of illusions. So it's so cool when these illusions that makes me suffer finish, or just stop for a while. So this is very good. And so I feel joy, because joy comes from that. But the basis for this is to remember that everything is a dream. Otherwise, I cannot understand the whole process. I cannot. It's very easy. If I don't understand that, for instance, you have someone having a nightmare. If you don't understand that this is a nightmare, so you cannot understand that suffering can be real, because you have to consider that suffering is real when you are having this nightmare, You have to understand the process of your own confusion in order to understand it for the other one. Otherwise, it's impossible. If it's like if someone tell you, "Oh, I had a terrible nightmare," so you understand. You say, "Oh, yes, I know. It's really difficult. I had also that experience." And so this is really the common experience in life, but we need that common experience. So that's why for mind training, I need a part of confusion. I have to be used to my confusion. If I have no confusion at all, so I cannot understand the suffering of others. It's impossible. There is a beautiful saying of Shilbu, the first commentator of Lojong. If you want, I show you. Just wait. I will find it for you. Okay, you have some minutes, so I will tell you. But I have to find it. So where it is? Just a second. I have to find it. How it is going? Okay, yeah. Sorry. I will. Dharma, Lojong. It's coming. Okay. Shagashri, no, it's not this. Just 1 second. The essence of Lojong. Shagashri, no. But because it's beautiful, really, really beautiful. Okay, Seychilbu. Okay. Seychilbu. Seychilbu. Just. Okay, Seychilbu. I will find you in English, so like that you have, and after I will send you that thing. It's absolutely extraordinary. Seychilbu, yes, I will find it. Okay, this is Seychilbu. Okay, so just as a lotus, does not grow out of a well-leveled soil, but from the, I don't know what is mere, but it's like a bad soil, with a lot of humidity and dust and things like this. In the same way, the awakening mind is not born in the heart of disciples in whom the moisture of attachment has dried up. So it is said, it grows instead in the heart of ordinary sentient beings who possesses in full all the fetters of bondage. So powerful, So it means that you cannot have love for others, you cannot have bodhicitta, according to Seychilbu, a great disciple of Geshe Chekawa Yeshe Doje, so the one who composed the 7 point of mind training. So it's the first historical commentary we have. And so the guy says that you cannot develop awakening mind if you don't perceive in yourself the feathers of bondage. If you are not trapped, so you can understand. You cannot understand the suffering of others. So it means that you cannot really have the wish of freeing others if you don't want to free yourself. It's impossible. And so this is really, really important. So this is, I will send you the 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 scene, because it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, friends, I spoke a lot. Do you have any questions or things to say or whatever?
I think it was great tonight because it was very helpful for preparation for also for the relative bodhicitta, no?
Yeah, sure.
It was a very rounded session
Mm-hmm.
to understand.
Yes.
For me, was great the connection between impermanence and dream, impermanence and emptiness,
Mm-hmm.
And then the understanding of that is very, very useful for practice.
Yeah.
For the daily life, actually.
You're right. Yes, you're right. Yeah. No, I think from there, yeah, sure, everyone has to reflect on all these subjects, but from there we can start with the Tonglèn session, and after we can continue with the rest of the commentary. Definitely. Okay.
Thank you very much. It was amazing.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. So, in that case, we can finish here with the dedication of the merits, and so we say bye-bye to each other. Okay. So, sunam di tamche zilpane tomne nyepe dranam pamjene kega na chi balab tupai sipe tsole drowa drolwara isho. So, all the best. And I will put that video on YouTube. So if others want to see, you can share the links and the link and everywhere. Yeah, as usual. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to you. All the best.